Here's one shift that could change your leadership journey. Most of the time, leaders are intelligent and they're creative and strategic, which is why they got the leadership position, right? As leaders, we love when we can see ourselves in other team members. And so we surround ourselves with team members made in our image, little mini me just everywhere. When you're building a team, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Everybody does not need to be made in your image. We need different personalities. We need different perspectives. We need different cultural differences. We need differences in creativity. We got the people like me who gonna bring it all the way to the top. And sometimes you need somebody, that's gonna bring it down a tad to where it's the perfect level. You also can't be afraid to have a negative Nancy on your team. You just have to know how to use that negative Nancy strategically. The negative Nancy, you present an idea, they're going to shoot it down. But if you ask them questions, why, they'll explain why. And you can say, well, I can plan for that this way. Or I can plan for that this way. Or they could be right and it's just not a good plan. Either way, it's good to have them on the team. So you need diversity. Next, when you're being intentional about building your team, there are just some things you cannot train. You can't train someone to be ethical. You cannot train someone to love others. You cannot train someone to enjoy being a team player. You cannot train someone to have intrinsic motivation and just is a go-getter. So with that being said, when you're intentionally building your team, if you're hiring new team members or transitioning people in, you can always train them on the skill set. If they have a level of intelligence, you can train them to do whatever it is you're doing. So if they have the other stuff, if they have the creativity, if they have ethics and morals and values and their intrinsic motivation and they're a go-getter and a team player and they're just, great with people, you can train other stuff. And lastly, you want to make sure that your team is comfortable with disagreeing with you. You don't need to have a team full of yes men or women. With all due respect, Your Honor, Your Highness, they need to be able to disagree with you when you're wrong or when you're going down the wrong path or when your thinking is not in the right place. And you have to intentionally create this environment where people feel comfortable with, disagreeing with you or, challenging your thinking, pushing your thinking. It has to be created. There can't be any retaliation or competition or, things like that make people feel threatened to speak up. Always remember, and I read a book, I can't remember the author, but this is not their direct quote, but this is what they were saying. You're smart. You're a leader. You are creative. You're strategic. You are smart. And so is everyone on that team. But together, you guys are a genius. Genius. So take these tips. I'm going to give one tip per week on Sundays and use them and watch your leadership transcend, transform, and become excellent.